What's up, everybody? Today we're going to go over how to set up your first Google display advertising campaign. So you set that up right in Google AdWords. It's just part of the display network. Instead of creating a search campaign, we're going to be doing a display campaign today. So when you get started, you're going to go right to your main screen in AdWords when you sign in. And what you want to do is click the red campaign button and come into a display network only campaign. So the first thing you have is a marketing objective. To explain these quickly, build awareness. You're basically trying to get a lot of impressions of your ad, but maybe not where customers are going to take a lot of action. So really more of a branding campaign. Influence consideration. That's kind of when you're in between branding and direct response. So maybe you want to send out an initial offer that ties into a drive action offer. So you start off with ad one, get a bunch of people, to see your ad, to see your message, and then after that you try to drive action. You could do engage with your content, visit your website. Really, what I recommend going with is driving action because ultimately, if you're running a campaign, a display campaign, you should want people to take action on your website. Um, Impressions over here, they're just not as valuable as they used to be. People are see so many different ads and from TV to social networks to being online to being on their phone. You see so many ads all the time. So just building awareness to me isn't a great idea. I like to drive action. So we're going to do buy on your website. So down here, we're going to start by naming the campaign. So the campaign I'm going to do today, just as an example, is going to be like a meal delivery service or a food delivery service, something similar to like what Blue Apron does. So let's go display, and we'll go food delivery. So locations, pretty self-explanatory. Let's just assume, we serve the United States area. You can obviously select different locations, states, cities, counties, congressional districts, all sorts of things that you can select, DMA markets. So languages, if you do multiple languages, you can update this. We're just going to keep it as English. Bid strategy, manual CPC, enabled enhanced CPC. That's really what you want to start with. Ultimately, your goal is to get to 15 conversions per month, so you can switch to a target CPA. As long as you have 15 conversions during a 30-day period, you can switch to target CPA bidding, where you're actually bidding for conversions. But basically, you need to give Google AdWords enough data so that they can bid for conversions for you. So once you start driving conversions, you really want to switch over to a target CPA bid strategy. But for now, we're going to do manual CPC where we set bids and then we just monitor everything and kind of go up and down with them depending on the overall results we're seeing. Budget, we'll just set it at $15 per day. You know, the way budgets are set is they'll kind of turn this into an effective monthly budget. So you might spend $17 one day, $13 the next. So kind of pick a budget that you can afford and that makes the most sense for you. Higher budgets allow you to gather more data, while lower budgets might take a little bit longer to gather the data that you want. So ad extensions with display ads, you can do a location. I don't have any locations in my account. You can do a call extension. If you want to add a phone number, I'm not going to add any ad extensions here, but you can add them. You might as well do it. If you're doing a food delivery service, I would definitely do the call, but I'm just not going to do it for right now. Show additional settings. So there's a lot of different options here. Location options. These you could do targeting people in or who have shown interest in your targeted location. I'm just going to do people in my targeted location. I don't want, someone who is from out of the country kind of looking at a trip to the United States and then I'm starting to show my delivery service to someone in France. I want people in the United States to be seeing this. Exclude, I don't have any exclusions, so we'll just leave it as is. Delivery method, you can do accelerated or standard. I usually just recommend using standard. Schedule, so if you want to do scheduling, if you maybe don't want to do it on the weekend, maybe you want to just do from 9 to 5, you could schedule your campaigns. Ad delivery, I usually do frequency capping. So basically, frequency capping allows you to say, I want someone to only have 4 viewable impressions per day for this campaign. So you're not sending your ad to somebody 10, 20 times per day. You're basically saying, all right, I only want them to have 4 impressions per day. And if they don't click on it today, then try again tomorrow. So it's a good way to kind of make sure that you're not just targeting, a finite number of people, and you're really expanding the amount of people you're targeting to. So I like to do frequency capping, and that's about it as far as additional settings. So we're going to save and continue here. So the next thing you're going to do is create ad groups. So for this, I'm going to start with targeting interests. So we're going to do food interests. Enhanced CPC bid, that's how much you're going to be bidding on these interests. So we're just going to set it as $1 for now. You can set up your landing page if you want. It'll give you some more customized kind of targeting ideas, but we're not going to do that for now. We're just going to, because I don't really have a real landing page for this, fake meal delivery service I'm setting up. So we're just going to go in interest and remarketing. So you can do custom affinity audiences if you have remarketing lists, video viewers, all sorts of different things, similar lists. For now, we're just going to use affinity audiences, which are basically reach audiences in broad interest groups. So, someone who's an art and theater aficionado has a lot of interest in art, theater, maybe Broadway shows, different things like that, but they might not be actively looking for it right now. But so it's just a big group, a big bucket of people that AdWords has said, these people have shown this type of interest. So for this one, I'm going to do foodies and cooking enthusiasts. Since we're doing our food delivery service, I want to reach people who, regularly show that they have these two types of interests. Or basically, really, it's saying one or the other type of interest. So if you're in the foodies and not cooking enthusiasts, it'll target each. So that's basically it for targeting audiences for interests. Now, as far as different targeting options, I'm going to go through them a little later on in the video, but you can see here you can target display keywords. You could target topics, which I don't really recommend. You could target placements, and you could also target demographics. I like to layer demographics in with the different things I'm doing. So maybe I say, let's go to all genders, but let's make sure they're at least 25 years old. And let's target parents, because parents might be more likely to have an interest in this service since they get home and they want, to be able to cook for their kids quickly. So let's do 25 and up, all parents. Unknown with age, you can select it, deselect it. You might want to start by deselecting it and then seeing how much volume you have. It looks like we have plenty of volume, so we're basically targeting these people in here. It says 10 billion plus impressions, so it looks like there's plenty of volume. Targeting optimization. I like to click Let AdWords automatically find new customers with conservative targeting. So maybe someone's not within these two interest groups, but AdWords identifies them as someone who might have interest in what we're offering. So I like to do that with conservative targeting. It gets better targeting optimization the more data you give AdWords, basically. So if you have a campaign sending AdWords tons of data, it'll definitely perform better. So save and continue here. Now, next we're going to be creating ads. So the big thing with ads is you need a bunch of different sizes. So the sizes that you're really going to need with your ads are 300 by 250. And I'm just showing you this example here of the different sizes you need. This is not how you implement them at all, but you need these 3 sizes to begin with. And then you also need a 1200 by 628, similar to it's the Facebook size, and also a 1200 by 1200, along with your logo, which they recommend using a 1200 by 1200, but you could also use a smaller image for the logo. So basically, these are the minimum that you really want to start with. So 300 by 250, 160 by 600, 728 by 90, 1200 by 628, 1200 by 1200, and a 1200 by 1200 logo. So these are the sizes you want, and I'm going to show you. I have them all here. So we're going to start with image ads. So when you come in to create ads, it's automatically going to go into the responsive ad. We're going to set that up in a minute, but we're going to do image ads for now. You have to upload image ads separately, just kind of a pain. So we're going to come in here and first start with our 728 by 90. All right, so here's our ad that we've created. Ad name, you just want something that you can tell. So let's do, fresh delivered. I'm going to copy that since I have to upload a few here. Display URL. So whatever your landing page is, your display URL, you could just use that website. And then maybe for final URL, that's where you're sending your traffic to. So I'm going to do surfsideppc.com/meal delivery. It's not a real page, but I'd obviously want to set it up if I was actually running this campaign. So this is final URL is where you're sending traffic. Display URL, you could just use your main, what it is. So that's basically it to upload one ad. And all you do down here is create next ad. And we're going to go back into image ad here, upload. So let's go 300 by 250. And then I have fresh meals delivered here. Same thing with URLs. /meal delivery. All right, so that's it. Create next ad. So you have to go over an image ad again. So far we have the 728 by 90, the 300 by 250. So now we're going to do our 160 by 600. So same thing. Now the reason you want to name your ad like this is so you can actually tell how the different sizes are performing, because you might find that the 300 by 250 up here is performing great and your 160 by 600 isn't, and you might want to pause it or create a new one because maybe this ad doesn't describe, the service that well. So that's kind of why you want to name your ads separately. You can see them in Google Analytics. So create next ad. So right now we have 3 ads uploaded. They're all going to the same final URL for the landing page. And now we want to go over some responsive ads. So with responsive ads, you actually get text around your ads. So you don't need really images that have text on them. Like here's what I'm going to use. So I have a 1200 by 628 without text. I have a 1200 by 1200 without text here. And lastly, I have my 1200 by 1200. I just made a fake logo here, nothing too fancy, but so you'll see up here your images that you can select. So the 1.91 by 1 is going to be this 1200 by 628. So we're going to use it. I could actually use this as both, but I'm just going to show for so I'm just going to do just the landscape format for this one. Continue. So now you'll see that one up here. All right, so they're telling me this second file's too large, so we're going to use this. We're going to use this large image as both. So for the landscape format, we have it cropped as the whole image. For the square format, I'm just going to crop where the food is. So what you want to be able to see up here is you have your 2 images up here along with a logo. So once we click save, now you have to create your ads here. So this is a good, let me pause this. So here's a good example. So you have a short headline, you have a long headline, a description, your business name, and then your final URL. So for the short headline, we're just going to copy what our, fresh food delivery. For our long headline, we're going to do, the best fresh food delivery service in the United States. And that's it. So now for our description, this is going to be more of, what exactly it is. So we're going to do get fresh food and recipes delivered weekly for easy food preparation. So business name, we're just going to do Surfside PPC. And final URL is going to be the same final URL from before. So meal delivery. So you're going to see over here, they're going to show a bunch of previews. So here's a good example. So here they're using our image up here, the short headline, the description, and then the final URL. They'll just use a display URL here, and when people click on this ad, they'll be taken right to the final URL. So pretty simple actually to set up. You just need a 1200 by 628 photo, and you could really set up everything pretty simply. So that's basically it. Now we're going to click done. So we have all of our ads here. This is our responsive ad, our 160 by 600, 300 by 250, 728 by 90. You could also upload, there's different sizes. There's, there's like a 900 by 250, which are huge units that usually are at the top of pages. There's also a 300 by 600. Those are two really good sizes that I'd usually use, but just for this example I didn't. So just make sure you check all the different sizes. I would recommend uploading every size, particularly the large ones, because you never know where your ad might show and where your ad placement, where you might not show if you don't have that size. So now we have all of our ads created. We just click Save Ads. Okay, so now our campaign is created. Once you click Save Ads, your campaign is created right away. And what I would do is separate the different targeting options into different campaigns. So we just did interests, there's keywords, there's placements, there's also remarketing and different options along those lines. So what I'm going to do, instead of creating separate campaigns, I'm just going to create separate ad groups to just show the example. So we're going to do create another ad group. So for this one, we're going to do food keywords. Same bid, we're going to do $1. And down here, we're going to select display keywords as our targeting method. And we're going to do enter our own keywords. So basically, I just want to keep a recipes thing because I want to reach people who are looking at recipes and might want a more simpler solution. So what I'm going to do is enter keyword recipes and find related keywords. So we're going to do quick, easy dinner meals, easy, healthy meal, easy meal recipe. We'll just add a couple of these right now. So the way, now we're just going to use these keywords here. See, there's plenty of impressions on the display network. Now the way keyword targeting works on the display network is they're showing ads to people that are likely to be interested in these keywords and also on pages and videos related to these keywords. So it's an important distinction because on the search network with keywords, you're actually targeting people who are typing them in. On the display network with keywords, you're targeting people who might be interested in the keywords and websites that are related to these keywords. So your people aren't actually typing these keywords in anywhere. It's not like someone's going to, foodnetwork.com and typing in, quick meal recipes right here. It's basically what the Google Display Network does is they say, okay, quick meal recipes, we're going to put you on foodnetwork.com in the 30-minute meals section because that's a website that we feel is very similar to this, even though the person didn't type it in. So that's basically how it works. You can do just content. I recommend doing audience because it's audience and content. So they're showing ads to people that are going to be interested in these keywords and on web pages, apps, videos related to these keywords. So targeting optimization, I'm going to do the same thing, conservative targeting here. And what's great is once you already have ads, so you go to copy existing ads for this ad group. So to select an ad group. So right now, this is our campaign display food delivery. We have our food interests created, and you'll see our ads come right up. So that's basically it. Save ads, and now we have that ad group created. So now we have an interest ad group and a keywords ad group. So the last thing I want to do is a placements ad group. So we're going to create one more. Bid is $1. So here we're going to click use a different targeting method and we're going to click placements. So placements include websites, videos, and apps where your ads are going to show. So you can target basically a direct website. So let's say I do recipes. All right, so let's say this is a great recipe for me. Let's say this one's a great recipe, a great placement. My apologies. All these different, let's just say all these, they're great. Now I want to check. Let's say I'm not sure about recipeforliving.com. You can click on this link, it'll open it right up for you. And you can review each website. Obviously, you're not going to know every placement, so you want to review the placements before you put, your ads all over them. This looks like a nice website, definitely going to be related. So we'll add recipeforliving.com. So you want to add plenty of placements here. I recommend adding, 50 if you can, 100 if you can. Just add as many that make sense for you. I don't know if these are all perfect, but we're just going to pretend they are. You'll see this, same thing, plenty of impressions on the display network, and we're going to use targeting optimization as well, so we have conservative targeting. And that's basically it. Save and continue. And it's the same thing with creating ads. We're going to copy existing ads, and you can select either ad group now, but we'll just use interests again. So now the ads. Okay, perfect. Now go to my campaign. Now I can make sure everything. Now you want to make sure all your targeting is correct. You have ads in every. So it looks like our ads didn't actually go into the keywords ad groups. There's a good little lesson here. So we have our ads for placements and for interests. So what we can do is just click on this box here, click edit, copy, go into food keywords where we don't have any ads yet, and click edit, paste. And it's just going to say paste for ads, so you just say paste. So now they're in here. So we have our interest keywords and placements. You can see your targeting methods. So you can see your different targeting methods in here. So right now we're in food keywords. You click on display keywords. And see the actual targeting method. Once you start getting data in here, you're able to optimize these different keywords. You're going to want to use placements a lot, interests to see how your interests are doing, along with demographics. So the more kind of data you can collect and use to your advantage, the better your campaign will perform over time. See over here, I'm missing website conversion actions. You'll want to set up, if you're using the goal-based campaign like I recommended in the beginning, you'll want to set up your conversion action. I obviously don't have a conversion action for food delivery. This is kind of just a fake service I set up. So that's basically it. Now you wait for data to come in. You want to make sure your tracking is set up properly, your conversions are set up properly, and from there you just wait for data to come in and start optimizing your campaign. So I'm going to say it one more time just so I'm pretty clear here. I would separate each one of these ad groups out into separate campaigns, because what you'll find if you do this and set up different ad groups with different targeting methods is all of your budget might go into just one ad group, maybe placements, maybe interests, maybe keywords, instead of kind of seeing them separately. So what I would recommend is, let's say you do have a $15 per day budget, just do $5 per day and separate each one of these ad groups out into their own separate campaigns, and then use that data to see what's performing the best. And that's kind of how you can decide, how you want to spend your budget. If you realize maybe keywords don't work, but placements and interests do, you can combine them both into one campaign, placements and interests, and try to gather as much data as possible and then switch over to target CPA bidding. So that's a little bit more down the line, kind of after you're optimizing, but hopefully this helps you understand how to create a display advertising campaign and maybe some of the different targeting methods, some of the different size ads you need. So hopefully this helps you. The display network is difficult to operate. It kind of seems, after I put up this campaign, I'm like, all right, everything's going to perform well. The campaigns haven't performed great for me. So it's something you really want to monitor and watch closely and continue to optimize as you go. So hopefully you learned something today, and thank you for joining us for this video.